Good morning, Donnie. Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning.
Thank you.
Zoning Administrator Nicholson, can you test your audio and video for me, please?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Okay, good morning. It is 10:31, so I'll go ahead and call this June 2nd zoning administrator meeting to order. My name is Amy Nicholson, and I'm the zoning administrator for the city of Santa Rosa. and pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E and the recommendation of the health officer of the County of Sonoma, we will be conducting this meeting by way of Zoom webinar. Members of the public can participate virtually at www.zoom.us/join or by toll-free telephone, and the phone number is 877-853-5257. And the meeting ID for this meeting today is 825-6671-7900. The public accessing today's meeting through Zoom can provide comments during specified public comment periods, and additional information related to meeting participation is available at srcity.org/zoningadmin. And this meeting is also being live streamed at the city's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/City of Santa Rosa. So moving on to item number 2, this is for public comment. This is a time when any person may address matters not listed on today's agenda, but are within the subject matter of the jurisdiction. The public may comment on agenda items when that particular item is called. So opening up general public comment. If you would like to make a general public comment, please hit the raise hand button on Zoom or press *9 if you're calling in by phone.
Zoning Administrator Nicholson, there are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. I will close general public comment and move on to item number 3, which is zoning administrator business. So I will read the statement of purpose. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the responsibility and authority to conduct meetings and take action on administrative applications. Any decision made by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the appropriate review authority, which includes either the Design Review Board, Cultural Heritage Board, Planning Commission, or City Council, depending on the application before the zoning administrator. And the appeal must be filed within 10 calendar days after the date of the decision. Item 3.2 is zoning administrator reports, and I have no reports for today. So we'll move on to item 4, which is consent items. It doesn't look like we have any consent items on today's agenda, so we can move into item 5, which is scheduled items. And give me just a second here. Okay, so our first item, item 5.1, is for Green Pen Dispensary site improvements. This is a minor landmark alteration permit, and the site is located at 349 College Avenue, and Miche Cali is the project planner.
Thank you and good morning, Ms. Nicholson. So let me share my screen to give a presentation. Okay. So as you mentioned, this is a minor landmark alteration permit for the property at 349 College Avenue. And project description, this minor landmark alteration permit is for site improvements, including removal of a planter next to the dwelling unit, which is located here. I'm showing with my arrow, and installing a new fence for both of the properties at 349 and 343 College Avenue, and adding a trash enclosure in the back of the building for 353 College Avenue, and parking lot improvements, which includes also the widening of this driveway. And here are the sites where the project is being proposed on both of these parcels. I just want to mention here one thing about the building on the back of this property here was damaged and destroyed by the fire. So the building in the back is gone and it's not here anymore. The zone for both of the properties is CG, general commercial, and it's consistent with the general plan land use, which is retail and business services. I want to give a brief background about this project. So Green Pen Dispensary was approved by the Planning Commission last year on July, and there were some comments, conditions on this on the approved resolution that talks about today's LMA, which included the improvement to the parking and removal of the planter box. And also one condition was to change the color on the building to a neutral color. And the applicant has proposed also to change the color on the building Green Pen Dispensary. So the applicant is not proposing to remove any trees. There are no trees on the site. The trees shown here on the adjacent properties. And the red line here shows the location of the proposed fence. The fence will be 6 foot in height and 4 foot lattice, 4 foot solid, 2 foot lattice. It will be made out of wood, similar to other fences in that neighborhood. And here show the parking places proposed on both sides, and the trash enclosure will be back here. And as you can see here, the driver has dislocated and widened to provide a better vehicular circulation on both sides. And here is the location of the planter. Will it be removed to provide access for the parking? The applicant is proposing to replace it in the back here. And there are no changes being proposed to the existing building. And below here is where it's like just an elevation of the proposed fence, which, as I mentioned, is going to be 6 foot tall. And the proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for 2 exemptions, Class 1 and Class 11. And Class 1 is that the project involves minor alteration to existing facilities. And Class 11 is that the project consists of construction of a minor accessory structure and a small parking lot. I have not received any comments or concerns or questions about this proposed project. And with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator, by resolution, approve a minor landmark alteration permit for the property located at 349 and 353 College Avenue. I know the applicant and the architect, both of them are available. So if you have any questions, they are also available to answer. And that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cali. I do have a few questions. If you wouldn't mind pulling up the site plan again, I know you had a few different versions in your PowerPoint.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that
Let me bring the PDF file. It might be a better quality. Let me find the PDF one. Oh, attachment. There you go. Project plans. It might be a higher and better quality. There you go.
Okay, so one question is the requirements for the minor landmark alteration permit. So that covers the fence at an increased height, because is it correct that because the fence is over 3 feet and
Oh, no, this is a commercial. The 3 feet fence is for residential and this is commercial. So there's no height limit for commercial fences in historic district. However, they require a minor landmark alteration permit because it's an accessory structure.
Okay.
I believe the 3 feet is only for residential.
Okay, I might be remembering the code incorrectly. I thought maybe there was a requirement for a landmark alteration for any fence over 3 feet in a preservation district. I don't know that it may or may not be tied to the zoning district or not, but okay, so the fence is one of the items.
Yes.
And that's really the requirement for the landmark alteration permit, because the striping is really, it's just impacting the existing paved area. There aren't any modifications to the building except for painting, which you discussed, which isn't regulated in our preservation districts.
Correct. And also the removal of this planter, the cement planter. and the
Okay.
widening of the driveway. In our zoning code under landmark alteration permit, it says that for driveways, you also need the minor landmark alteration permit. So
Okay,
also the LMA is for driveway and
Okay.
paving and adding all this parking spaces.
okay, so, and then as you mentioned, the structure, it was like an accessory structure that was damaged in a fire?
No, it was a whole different house, and I believe it was being used as a commercial. The applicant can answer that question about the fire and when it happened.
Okay, but so it was previously, that part of the parking lot was previously had that structure, so on the northern part of that
Yes,
other property, it's since been damaged and demolished, and that area will be paved and it will allow
Correct.
for circulation.
Correct.
Okay, and then the curb cut will be widened along College Avenue.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I think that that concludes my questions for now. So let's take a pause and I'll move into public comment and then we'll circle back.
And I will look at that LMA section for the fence to just make sure I'm correct or not. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, I will now open up public comment on this item. Does any member of the public wish to make a comment? If so, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or press *9 on the phone.
Zoning Administrator Nicholson, there are no hands raised at this time.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm just going to look at the resolution.
Ms. Nicholson, can I just interrupt? And so I look under the landmark alteration permit. It says a fence higher than otherwise allowed by section 20-30.060, which section is about the fences, shall require major landmark alteration permit approval. So the 3-foot fence is for the residential and this zone is commercial. So I think they don't need a major LMA for the fence because the project site is zoned commercial.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. I do have one additional question. So the cement planter will be relocated so it doesn't obstruct vehicle access onto College Avenue, and there's some type of plants proposed in that?
The applicant is placing in the back, but I don't see any trees being proposed there. Applicant Cohen, Lisa can answer that question.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Nicholson. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Lisa Cohen. I'm the Senior Executive Vice President. And we are running the business at 353 and we our company owns 349. We also hired a historian to go through and look at the two properties. And it was determined that the planter is not of historic, it's modern materials. And we have the full history report. This building goes back to 1893 for the 349. So we're looking to see if we can remove the planter. If we're not, we would propose to put it in the back corner, and we'll be submitting our building permit with the trees that will be going in the property. No trees, just succulents for the property for water, making sure that we're conservative of water.
Okay, okay, so the planters, I understand that the need to remove it and that it's not of historic value. I appreciate that clarification. So is the request to actually not relocate it in the north?
If possible, yes. We want to move forward. So if that's our only option to move to the back, we're willing to do that, but it is not a historic item. And they felt it was the historian, painter preservation, historic preservation, urban design. Diana did the full evaluation and felt that it was fine to remove that.
Okay. Is there any other landscaping? I realize it's limited and there's quite a bit of paved area and more area that needs to be paved. So if that weren't to be relocated, would there be any landscaping at all on the
Yes,
site?
there would be landscaping in that area, be succulents.
But that's only if you relocated the planter, right?
Even if we didn't relocate the planter, we would have that area set for.
Oh, would be landscaped regardless. Okay. Great, thank you. And Miche, Cali, did you review the report that?
So let me tell you about the report. So the report was prepared for the adjacent property. In the future, they have to submit a minor LMA for the repair of the damaged building. And in that report, the historian talks about that planter. So at the time where this LMA was submitted, there was no report specifically for this lot. So applicant is preparing another LMA for the future for the property at 343 College Avenue. And that report talks about the planter that is not the historic. It has no historical value.
Okay. Thank you. So
I'll make one correction, low water maintenance planting. I apologize for saying succulents. I just want to make sure we're just very concerned about the water droughts that are going on and things like that. So we just want to make sure we're having low water maintenance planting at the site. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I believe that concludes my questions. One more sort of process related question, Miche, Cali. If there is not a desire to relocate the planter, are we able to add a condition in the resolution that gives some flexibility that because the planter is not of historic significance, that it isn't required to be relocated, but that plantings, low water or native plantings would be located in the northwest corner of the project site?
We can add the conditions, say like a provide landscaping on the northwest corner of the lot, 349 College Avenue. Sorry, I said 349 College Avenue. Maybe we can add the condition.
I'm just thinking it might be good to add in that flexibility because the plans themselves show that the planter is being relocated.
Correct.
But if it's not the desire to relocate it and it's not of historic value, then I think it would be helpful to add a condition that if the planter is not relocated, that area will be
landscape
vegetated, with low water plants, and that way it gives the applicant an opportunity to choose what works best, and whichever planner reviews the building permit plans can review that condition, if that makes sense.
Yes, Lisa, do you have any question about?
No, that's already in our plan, so we would like that, and thank you, Ms. Nicholson, and we just really appreciate your understanding.
Sure. Thank you so much, and I've reviewed the findings in the resolution, and I can make each of the findings. I think that these will be some important improvements for the site and allow for better circulation. And it looks like there's a special condition regarding a joint access agreement, which allows the use of 349 for the purposes of 353. So I appreciate that, and also the engineering conditions. I want to make sure that those were also uploaded, and okay, so I think that we are good. So I will go ahead and sign the resolution approving the minor landmark alteration permit once Miche Cali is able to add in that condition, just to provide that flexibility for the planter. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And just a reminder that this action is subject to appeal. So if it were to be appealed 10 days starting, 10 calendar days beginning tomorrow, it would be appealable to the Cultural Heritage Board.
Ms. Nicholson, do you want to open the public comment period for this project? I think you didn't ask for public comment.
Did
you ask?
I thought that I did.
Okay.
Yes, she did.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
I appreciate it. It's a team effort. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to item 5.2. This is for the Chan Straub residence, which is located at 3935 Sky Farm Drive, and it's a minor hillside development permit, and Miche Cali is the planner again.
Thank you again. So I will share my screen this time again for the presentation. So the project before you today is minor hillside development permit and a minor conditional use permit. We have two permits here. I'm going to explain the reason why we have two permits. So just a brief description. The minor hillside development permit is for a new pool, cabana, training walls, and an ADU that has a storage. The ADU itself is exempt from the hillside permit, but because there's a storage on the first floor and it's more than 50% of the total area of the ADU, it requires a hillside permit. And the reason for the minor use permit is because the accessory structures, the cabana and retaining walls and the pool, the swimming pool, are proposed in front of the house and they are closer to street than the primary residence. Our zoning code says if those accessory structures are being proposed closer to street than the primary residence, they will require a minor use permit. And the project is located at 3935 Sky Farm Drive. The house was destroyed by the fire and the new one has been rebuilt recently. As you can see here, this is the new house is already constructed. And the applicant is proposing to add the pool, cabana, and the new ADU there. The zone is PD plan development, consistent with the general plan land use, a very low density residential land use. Here is the existing site plan. As you can see, the project, the applicant has provided the site plan that shows the majority of the area where the project is going to be proposed, which is in the front. No portion of the backyard will be proposed for any structures. And I will tell you why. I have a picture also. Here is the area where the project is being proposed. It shows there are some existing rock walls. And this is the proposed site plan. So on the left side here, we have the new ADU with the accessory structure on the below, on the lower level. And the cabana is here. The applicant also has existing garage in the back, which is detached, and the cabana will be shorter and almost in front of the garage. There are retaining walls that providing access, and the pool with the trellis around, not trellis, like guardrails around the pool. And there is a small area for the fire pit at this location. So the reason the applicant cannot propose the structures in the back because majority of the backyard has slopes greater than 25%, and it won't be easy to take any like grading or truck in the back to do the work. And again, because the slope in the back is 25%. So the applicant requested to propose those accessory structures and the pool and the swimming pool to be proposed or placed in front of the primary residence. Here is a section for the pool and cabana. I want to show how, I want you to see at the center section here, how the proposed retaining walls and the pool is following the contours and they are stepping down. And here is the existing elevation for the house. And here is the proposed structures. Here is the cabana, the pool, new retaining walls, and the new ADU with the storage on the lower level. As you can see, none of those structures are going to be taller than the existing structures on the house, and they won't disturb any like a ridge line or view from the street. Here is the ADU with the storage. And here is the slope map as it is today. And here is the proposed slope for the new structures. And here is the rendering on illustration of what being proposed there. The cabana is going to be similar in materials to the existing house, and the applicant has chosen to put the retaining walls around the pool to be similar to the existing rock walls that are on the side, so they will blend perfectly and won't like how should I say, a dominant view from the street. So the whole project will be blending very well with the existing single family on the site. And this project also has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and it qualifies for a Class 3 exemption under Section 15303. The project consists of construction of accessory structures. We send a notice for this project to neighbors within 600 feet, and I have not received any emails or questions about the proposed project. And with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve the proposed project for the property located at 3935 Sky Farm Drive. The applicant representative Seth is available, and if you have any question, he probably can answer your questions also. And that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very thorough presentation. Does the applicant wish to make any comments at this time?
No, Ms. Nicholson, not at this time. Ms. Cali did a fine job.
Great. Thank you so much. I don't have any questions, so let me go ahead and open public comment on this item. If any member wishes to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom.
Zoning Administrator Nicholson, there are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have reviewed the resolution and see that there are the findings for both the minor conditional use permit and also minor hillside development permit. Thank you, Ms. Cali, for explaining.
Zoning Administrator.
I need to close public
do you
comment.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead and close public comment for this item. Thank you for the reminder. So Ms. Cali, thank you for explaining why a minor conditional use permit is required for this project. And I appreciate the findings that were made for that entitlement, as well as the hillside development entitlement. I certainly understand why it makes sense to locate these accessory structures in the area where they're being proposed. It's land that's easier to develop and is less disturbing to steeper slopes. So I feel that all the findings can be made for the minor use permit. The hillside development permit, I agree with Ms. Cali's findings about stepping with the topography and not interrupting ridgeline views. The rendering was really helpful just to show that perspective of how the cabana and ADU and storage area are lower in height and I think blend really well with the house that was recently rebuilt. And also I appreciate the use of natural materials on the retaining wall. I think that's a very complementary to the rock walls that are existing and just helps to keep the area looking more natural. So just to clarify, has the applicant reviewed the resolution of approval and each of the conditions?
Yes, I have, and I no questions there.
Okay, great. All right, well, with that, I will go ahead and approve the hillside development permit and minor use permit. And members of the public know that this action is appealable within 10 calendar days of the decision. Thank you for attending, and let's see, we can move on to our last item, which is adjournment. So thank you all for attending today, and enjoy the rest of your day.